Morning. Welcome to Free Friday Coaching. I apologize for being just a couple minutes late. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Free Friday Coaching. I apologize for being a couple minutes late. I reset my browsers and I had trouble logging in, but here I am. It is Friday. It is my favorite day because I get to come in here and coach all of you on whatever is going on in your life. So, if we've not met before, my name is Megan. I am a coach. I help women who have great big plans, great big ideas, great big wishes, and sometimes really great big stress and anxiety and overwhelm. I help them figure out how to manage those feelings in their body so that they can think clearly, because when you feel anxious, when you feel stressed, your brain doesn't work quite as well. And you might have noticed that you are like, oh my God, I'm so confused. I'm so overwhelmed. I can't even think. I don't even know what's going on. Yeah, that's totally normal. Your brain was actually designed to do that, which is really annoying, isn't it? So what I do is I help women figure out how to manage those feelings in their body so that they can calm that down and make decisions and do what they want to do. If that sounds like you are in exactly the right place. And if you notice that something is going on in your life today that you want help with, you are also in the right place, because what I do every Friday morning is I talk with you in a coaching situation, so you're signing up to be coached, about what's going on, help you get from A to B. That means you would show up with something that you want to work through. I would ask you questions and you would reply in the comments. And I would coach you through that by asking you questions about what's going on, how you feel about it, what you think about it, what you're actually doing, what's working, what's not working. We work through it. You come up with a solution that works for you, and you get to leave here today feeling confident, feeling so much more calm about what's going on in your life, and ready to go out and have some fun doing whatever it is that you want to do. Whether it is spending your Friday outside in the sunshine because it is a gorgeous morning in Indiana, or maybe it's like, no, what I really want to do is I want to go to work and I want to actually say that thing that I've been wanting to say. Both of those things are incredible, and there is no right or wrong. It's just what you want. That's my favorite thing about coaching, is that it's all about what you want. And what I do, I feel like Santa. Every time I get to coach someone, I show up and I'm like, what do you want? Let me help you get it. It's the best thing. Some people just want to be present with their kids and they don't want to stress out. They're like, you know what? At the end of the day, instead of feeling like I have to grab my phone to escape, or feeling like I have to like get 1,000 things done, or just feeling like everything is swarming around me, I just want to be able to sit and watch a movie with my kids. That's an amazing goal. They grow up so fast. My oldest daughter turns 22 today. If you're looking at the pictures in the back, can I make my hand go this way? It's that one. That one right there. It's her birthday. So my oldest daughter is 22 today, which is crazy. And we've been singing, well, I've been singing I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22 and just hoping to God that somehow I nail some Taylor Swift tickets for Indianapolis in November, which would be my birthday weekend. So it would be a gift for her and a gift for me. But I get off topic sometimes, don't I? If you would like to be coached, all you have to do is pop into the chat and say, hey, Megan, I'm here. I have something I want to work through. It can be anything. I always want to give the disclaimer, though, that anything you type in the chat will be visible to other people. Anything you say in here, people will be able to watch it. So don't bring your deep, dark secrets. Don't bring something that is really gigantic that you're like, okay, this has been going on for years and I'm here, but what I really want is something that's going to take some time. We're talking about smaller issues where maybe you just have a situation where you're like, I feel really stuck on this right now. This is the perfect spot to do that. And I do this every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. So if you watch this later and you're like, I can't really show up today, it's totally fine. You can always come next week. So all that being said, if nobody is wanting to be coached today and you are here to listen, that's actually another fantastic opportunity to learn and to be able to take steps on your own, because everything that I ask in here, whether I'm coaching someone else and I'm asking them questions and you're like, oh, wait, I have something kind of like that, you can apply those same questions to your problems. And I also have something that I can teach. I get to put my teacher hat back on for just a little bit every Friday morning and teach you guys about whatever my topic is of the week. And this week, my podcast and my blog and all of those things, we all stay on the same topic all week, is all about overwhelm. And overwhelm can show up in all kinds of different ways. You might be overwhelmed by the number of things that are on your to-do list. That happened to me this week on Monday. I made a to-do list. I haven't felt really great this week. I haven't felt great since I had COVID back in August, but I could not focus for anything. And for whatever reason, I could not get through what I put on my to-do list. And I was really frustrated. Tuesday morning, I woke up and I'm like, now I have yesterday's stuff and today's stuff. And I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get everything done? That could be like a really quick instance of overwhelm, but it can get bigger than that. It can be like, have you seen my calendar? Have you seen the amount of things that I have to do because I have kids and I've got a job and I've got responsibilities at church and I've got all these other things going on and I can't get everything done. Or it could be like I am so overwhelmed with emotions that I can't even figure out what I feel or how I feel or how to deal with it. I'm just really emotional. You could be overwhelmed with clutter in your house. There's so many different ways that this can show up. And what I want to tell you is, and this is the part where I'm like, people are sometimes going to fire back at me like this. Every single bit of this is optional. Overwhelm is 100% optional, which means you don't have to experience it. And it's also your responsibility. And that is my cold, hard truth for you today, is that all of that shit that's going on around you that you're like, I don't like any of this. I would never choose this. And I would never do this to myself on purpose. And Megan, you can just shut up now. I know it's a lot. But here's why I say that. Here's why I say that overwhelm is optional and why it's your responsibility. You make your list, you put the things on the calendar, and you are responsible for your emotions. Yes, somebody else may make you very angry. Something in your life might have happened and swooped in out of nowhere that just feels so big that you don't know how to handle it. And I'm not saying that you know exactly what to do, because a lot of times we don't. A lot of times we haven't learned how to handle big emotions or to handle confronting someone about like, I'm not staying after 5 o'clock anymore. I have responsibilities at home. And so I'm going to put that boundary down. If we've never been taught how to do those things, it can be something where you're like, how can that be my responsibility? I can't help it that so-and-so passed away and I feel overwhelmed with grief. And that's absolutely true. That's a really big emotion to handle. I'm not saying that it feels good. I'm not saying that it's easy, but I am saying that as you learn how to do that, when you take responsibility for learning how to do that, you can work through it. So I'm not trying to be angry with you or to point fingers at you, because we all feel this sometimes. It is a very normal part of life. And overwhelm really happens when we have a lot of stress going on, if we have a major life event, if you are going through a death, a divorce, a job loss, your kids going away to college, having a baby. Any of those big life circumstances can feel very overwhelming. Is it your responsibility that someone passed away? Absolutely not. Is it your responsibility to figure out how to handle all of those really hard feelings? Yeah. Is it your responsibility that your boss asks you every single day to stay after work until 6 and stay late? No. Is it your responsibility to learn how to say no and put down boundaries? Yes. So I want you to picture this, and I'm going to go back to a much simpler idea. I'm going to go back to the idea that you're responsible for your list and you make your list. This is a funny one. I'm going to pick on my husband for a minute with love because I've said this to him a lot of times. He makes the longest to-do lists I've ever seen in my life consistently, day after day, week after week, year after year for his entire life. If you work with him, if you've seen him work, the man is like, does not stop. And he's like, my to-do list, it's never. And I'm like, but you make the list. And if you are like him, and sometimes like me, where you underestimate how much time something takes, which is really what I did on Monday and why I didn't make it through my list. If you're underestimating things on how much time it takes, or if you happen to feel sick and you're like, I just couldn't get it done, those kind of things can cause the overwhelm. So what I want to say is, I want you to pretend for a minute that you are at a salad bar and or how about a buffet? Because a salad bar might be too boring. Maybe you just like plain lettuce or something like that. But let's pretend like you're at a buffet, an amazing buffet, like a cruise ship or an all-inclusive resort buffet, the good kind with the like fancy stuff. And you're there and you have a plate and they gave you a plate and you go up to the buffet and you look at everything that's on the buffet and you start filling your plate and but you only get one plate. You get one plate, you get one shot to do this. And the buffet is amazing and you want to get all the things. So you start piling it on and it's like you pile it like high, right? It's falling over. And as you're walking back to the table, things start falling off on the floor. Like that piece of cake that you wanted fell on the floor and now it's you can't get any more. You put the stuff on the plate. So you have to decide what you want on the plate because if it falls off and it doesn't make to the table, you don't get to enjoy it. If you put too much of one thing on your plate, you don't get to try anything else. So you are responsible for what you put on there. And if you want to try and get things done, maybe you get another plate later and you can go back. You have to be responsible for what you're putting in your calendar, what you are putting in your brain, and what you are adding to your life. And that comes with making decisions about what's important to you, getting really clear on your values. When I'm looking at my calendar, what are the things that line up with my values? What is most important to me? This is something that I do with lots of clients when I'm coaching them. We'll go through like, what are the things that give you a lot of joy? What are the things that bring you the most pain? What are the things that you really look forward to every single day? Why do you look forward to those things? What is it about this person that draws you to them or this person that pushes you away? Maybe that's true for your job. Like, what do you love about your job? What do you hate about your job? Let's figure out what those values are. And there are lots of values. I mean, there's a whole page that Brene Brown has that you can print or find on the internet that's like, here's a list of values. Which ones are important to you? When you start making decisions about what comes into your life, what goes into your head, what goes onto your calendar, what goes onto your to-do list, based on those values, it becomes a lot easier to start saying no. And if you're like, oh, you want me to tell my boss no? I don't want to get fired. What if you wouldn't get fired? What if you were actually a better employee because you put down a boundary? What if you were a better mom because you learned to say no to the church? Oh, would you actually tell your church no? I did that this week. It was hard, but I'm glad I did it. It was hard. It was. There are some things that we feel very obligated to do, but it is safe to do that. And I'm just here to offer that you really could be a better employee, a better mom, a better sister, a better wife, a better husband or brother or whoever's watching this by saying no to the things that you know suck your energy down. You could be a much more focused person with a lot more energy if you started making a pile of the clutter in your house and in your life, took it and put it in a box and dropped it off at Goodwill. Because clutter sucks your energy and causes more stress. Okay, Sherry says, I just found that out myself. I put a boundary down with the boss and now I figured out he respects me more. Yes! Because I can't say what I really wanted to say that just popped into my head, but I'll text you later. But when you put that boundary down and you show people that like, no, I have these other parts of my life that are very important to me, that builds respect for yourself, respect for yourself and respect from other people because they're like, oh no, you can't push that one around. She's got things. She's willing to fight for what she wants. Would you, I mean, isn't that not the kind of employee that you would want to hire? Somebody that was like, you don't want me to do that. Like, you don't want to ask me to do that. So let me give you an example of, just an example that I've used in my life before. I have people asking me to do things that need to be done that are important jobs a lot. People say, hey, can you help with this? And I usually can tell right away if it's for me or not because I've gotten really good at paying attention to like how I feel about how my body responds to things. This is something I also work on with coaching clients. And I can pretty quickly say no. And if they say why, I'll just tell them why. Like that is just not my thing. You don't want me to do that. I don't want to show up with resentment. I don't want to be like, oh, I have to do this thing. I want to be joyful and excited about what's on my calendar, what's on my list, and what I say yes to. So I've learned to put down boundaries. And sometimes people will say, I mean, don't you think you should just go? Don't you think that's your responsibility? And my answer is absolutely not. My mom has said that to me before. Don't you think that you sort of need to go to that? And I'm like, no, not really. And I don't. And I have zero regrets. As an example, I was a teacher for a long time and our school always had a prom. I didn't like prom when I was in high school. I didn't like chaperoning prom. I love my friends. I don't want to go. So I just started saying no. Did I have any regrets? Zero. My mom had regrets. My mom thought I was my responsibility to go because I taught there. And I was like, the teachers at the high school don't all go to prom. What do I have to go for? It all worked out fine. So Sherry said, I was always too scared to speak my mind. And now I don't care. You have to get to the point where you don't care. And if you're like, but people will think things about me, people will be disappointed. I think that it's my responsibility. Those are thoughts that we want to work through together, because that's how you start taking responsibility for your own emotional well-being, for the overwhelm in your life, and for the things that are on your calendar, on your brain, in your emotional self, on your to-do list, the clutter in your house. Those things are all your responsibility. And if you're like, okay, I'm going to need some help with this because I don't know what to do with all of this, that is really what I do as a coach, is I help people work through the stress of the things, like things around you and what you're thinking about them, how you're responding to them. We start working through those things so your stress level goes down. And when your stress level goes down, you don't hit that level of overwhelm, because overwhelm comes from stress and too much going on in your life. Another benefit of getting your stress level down is that the more stressed that you are and the more that builds up, the more cortisol gets into your body that hangs on for a while, and that cortisol causes feelings of anxiousness. So if you notice that you feel really anxious and you're like, oh my God, why? Why is this? You're probably stressed out about a lot of things. So when you lower your stress level, when you take time to schedule in relaxation and fun and taking care of yourself and noticing what can I control and what can I not control, your anxiety level starts to go down too. And so there are so many benefits. Suddenly you're like, you know what, I really actually can say, no, I'm not going to do that. Just like Sherry did. You can start doing those things. You put down boundaries and you're like, I feel actually pretty confident. I feel really sure about myself. I have so much more energy that I'm not drowning in my to-do list and my stress level all the time. You know what? I actually can say no to this thing because somebody else is going to do a better job and not be resentful. And I get to say yes to this thing and I'm going to kill it at that thing. That's what you get. So would you, like, if you are sitting here thinking, that all sounds really nice, would you agree that a little help might get you where you want to go? Because if you do, if you really are like, yes, and I need help with this, message me. Just message me. Let's get on the phone and talk about what is stressing you out. What do you feel is like cluttering up your life? What's going on with your calendar? Where do you feel overwhelmed or stressed? And let's come up with a way for you to move through that. Let's just talk about it. It's about an hour. I'm not going to charge you for it. It's totally free. And let's come up with a plan, because when you do that, your relationships get better. You're not snapping at your kids, your coworkers, your spouse, or anyone else anymore. You notice that you can think more clearly. You're not so exhausted at the end of the day. You have time to go out and do things that light you up, that are fun, and you start to enjoy your life. And that's really what I want for you guys. I want you to be able to do all of the things that you've been trying to do, and this is a step. And it's your responsibility to take that step. Okay, this was a fun one. I loved it. I cannot wait to talk with you. My DMs are always open. Message me. We can talk, possibly over the weekend, definitely next week. All right, take care. I will be back next Friday. See ya.